Hey guys, and welcome to yet another cast of salt. With you today, we have over to my right, Ryan Worthington, and then to my left, Roz.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
And who are you?
I'm here too.
Jeez, chill.
You haven't been here in like 3 weeks.
I did last week's.
Oh yeah.
No, last
Well,
podcast.
Who are you
Anyway, and hosting today is the always handsome and wonderful me.
Especially when talking about himself.
Yeah.
Who are you and what are you doing in my house?
Okay, so as per usual, thank you very much for joining us. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Check out some of our other awesome, fantastic work that we do. But if you're just listening on SoundCloud or the likes of iTunes, put some comments, give us a review, let us know what you think. Please feel free to share with anyone else that you think would love our content. We love giving you these content, so please share the love. And last but not least, we are on Discord, so please jump on, check it out. Link to the Discord is in the description below, and just give us your thoughts, give us your feels, let us know what you're thinking. If there's anything you want us to do that we haven't done already, let us know. We'll give it a shot. Happy to try anything at least once.
Absolutely.
As long as it doesn't involve killing ourselves.
Ben would be willing to question that.
Yeah. On second thoughts, let's not go down that path.
Anyway, Ruz, tell us.
Well, I mean, I think my update's going to be pretty quick because I'm still playing WoW. It's amazing how much that game kind of sucks up a lot of your gaming time. You know, if you let it, you know?
Really? A massively multiplayer online game with continual content updates.
I know, right? But to be fair, I think if I haven't already, I think I'm probably going to be winding down on the amount of time that I spend on that soon because the latest patch is now about a month old. We've had a lot of time with the current and that wasn't even a raid patch. So the current raid's been out now for months. Mm-hmm. We finished it on the highest difficulty we're going to attempt. So we're pretty much in maintenance mode until the next expansion, which means that hopefully I'll have some time to spend on other games soon.
I'm gonna be like, I still find this game mechanic odd.
Which one?
Of the whole, you're playing a game, you keep playing bits and pieces, just waiting for the next patch. And the next patch comes out, you just spend all your time, all your effort. It's like, all right, let's smash through all this content. Smash through the content. All right, now we're waiting again for the next 6 months. It's
for better or for worse. One of the main ways that the community has come to measure your success is how quickly
you get through the content.
Clear the content.
Yeah,
and we're not world beaters by any measure, but we still want to. But the earlier that you can clear the content, the earlier you have access to the entire dungeon's loot table, and you can get everything.
You can go back and go, all right, well, we need a better version of this.
Yeah. It's and now at this point we're basically trying to see how quickly we can smash through it.
And that's fair. Like I get it, but I find it.
You find it
interesting.
Yeah, odd. It's not a thing that appeals to you. And I get that.
Oh no, it's not even the appeal of it. It's just different.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know very many other games that works in that fashion.
I mean, every MMO.
Yeah.
Destiny works in that fashion.
Yeah, exactly right. And
I
again,
I don't know if people do people classify Destiny as an MMO? Do people classify Destiny as an MMO? I think it's an MMO. Coming from an MMO background,
do you remember,
it exhibits all the qualities of an MMO, but people don't seem to think of it that way.
What else would it be?
Do you remember when Destiny came out, they're like, this is going to be a game that we're going to support for 10 years, and then they brought out Destiny 2?
Yeah, well, you know... trusting AAA publishers in 2018.
Yeah, exactly. 2018 current, you're right.
Well, yeah, but again, what else would it be if it's not an MMO?
I don't know. I mean, like
a dungeon simulator.
Yeah, a lot of people were approaching it as if it were like a multiplayer Halo sort of thing. No, sorry, a cooperative Halo. Halo is multiplayer.
Is Destiny open world?
No.
Then I would say it's probably not.
It doesn't
follow the traditional MMO structure.
It doesn't follow the traditional MMO structure, but all of its game systems, apart from the fact that there is no open world.
It's not open world is the only thing from my perspective, because you still interact with every other.
Yeah, but the whole point of the massively multiplayer online is that everyone's on a server together.
See, that's what it was at the genesis of the genre, so to speak. things have sort of moved on since then, and a lot of games now are considered massive games, even if I think all that's required for that is persistence
And PvE.
and PvE, and it's persistence and PvE and some form of shared progression.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So
It
similar
doesn't
to World of
necessarily have-
Warcraft,
yeah.
Destiny, you go on raids
Yeah.
effectively.
Yeah.
You go as you get a team together. You go
Yeah.
beat the big bad
And
boss.
it's sort of
You
like
get loot.
yeah. It's almost It's like from my perspective, it's so similar to a game like WoW that I don't see how you couldn't call it an MMO. The only difference is that rather than having to start in the home city, warp to the second city, warp into the zone, walk to the raid zone, summon everyone there, and then get inside. You just click a button and you go there.
It's just like, hey, we're all ready to go. Yes, let's go.
Yeah, I don't know.
So in
I
that
don't
way,
know.
it's 100% better.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I guess when I think of MMO, I think of walking into a town and everyone's screaming, selling plate armor, 10 million
Well-
GP, and buying GIF.
You still
Well, that's your RuneScapes and your Ultima Onlines and your Lineage and your.
you can still walk into a town and interact with other people, can you not? In Destiny?
You can, but it's not. There's not a ton of like different areas. There's like a hub world,
Yeah.
and then there's missions.
Yeah.
There's not like a bunch of different zones where you'll see people out doing their
Doing
shit. Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess the difference is that open world aspect
I think
Warcraft.
you're the
can
one
do-
you're the one that's played it, so you should be telling me how
What,
it
in
works.
terms of Destiny?
Yeah.
I haven't played Destiny.
I thought you had.
Adam
I played
has.
like 5 minutes of one.
That's
and
more
that
than
was
I've
the
played.
extent of it. So from my perspective, the only difference I see here is that World of Warcraft and the likes, you can go around. You don't even have to do the missions. You just go around and do whatever the hell you want if you really want to.
I saw Destiny as more of a Borderlands like when it first came out.
Yeah, potentially.
It just basically took the end game content of Borderlands, which was to refight all the bosses trying to get sweet loot, and just did that instead of having like any single player.
Anywho,
Yeah.
I-
So I don't know. So the alpha testing, or what they call alpha testing. The terms alpha and beta testing seem to have shifted in gaming.
Yeah.
Have you noticed? It's sort of
I
like,
haven't been paying attention.
well, it's like what they call an alpha these days is more like a beta, and what they call a beta is essentially
A full game.
a preview.
the game,
Yeah,
yeah.
pre-release.
A preview.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because. Yeah. Anyway, so the quote unquote alpha is out, and obviously, all
Do you have to pay for the alpha?
No. Yeah, it's essentially streamers only.
Yeah.
It's
like,
50,000
here's-
subscribers will get out.
Yeah. Like,
But
it's a promotional piece. It's
That's
here's
right.
a big enough character or individual with enough people that will see their shit.
Yeah.
Let's let them do our promotion for
yeah.
us.
So it's in full swing. Stuff's getting added. I haven't really been paying that much attention to it, but I don't know. I've already mentioned on this podcast before that I think the direction they're going with the plot in the next expansion is dumb. But I'm going to play it anyway, probably.
I feel like all the plots have been dumb.
This one's especially dumb,
Home and away
many times-
with orcs.
how many wars can you just refight?
Yeah, that's why I think it's dumb. It's
Yeah.
sort of like...
It's literally home and away, but with orcs. It's like this guy was dead, but now he's back because he was in a coma the whole time.
With a vengeance. Yes. Anywho,
And
Ryan.
it's been going for 20 years, so yeah.
So that's been my main focus. I'm still playing Hearthstone. I mean, that's going all right. The meta game's very stale at the moment. Even after the nerfs, bring on the yearly rotation.
You working your way up to
Legend again.
Legend again?
Well, I've kind of run out of time for this month, I think. But
You're like, no.
but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe someday again.
It's all right.
It's-
Once
it's-
you've reached legend, you're
You've
forever
peaked.
a legend. That's it. You're done. You're done.
You don't need
sure-
to. You don't
I'm
need to
not
play.
sure
You
that-
don't even need to play ever again. You're just like, I've made it. I've made it, guys.
I could quit now.
Game
Quit-
over.
Quit on top.
You can quit the internet.
Number
You've won.
Go and live in a
You've
cave
won
for the rest
at
of my
life.
day and just let it sustain me. And
Your legendary status
so,
sustains you.
So retro gaming wise, I've been checking out Final Fantasy VIII again.
Okay.
Why 8? Don't know.
it's-
Because I think because it's the one that I've played the least
Mm-hmm.
up until now. In that I basically played through it once when it was new,
And that was it.
and haven't revisited it yet because
8 was gun swords.
8 was
No.
8 was Emo Squall and his gun sword.
Yes.
Has a great soundtrack, which I've been listening to a lot at work. I guess I wanted to revisit it because its game systems are very different from all the other games of its era.
Yep.
And I wanted to revisit them with more experienced eyes.
Mm-hmm.
They're still a bit janky, I think, but we'll see what I think when I'm actually finished with it.
Okay. Keep us posted.
Yeah.
Mr. Ryan.
I mean, so I don't have much in the gaming news. I spent a bit of time playing around with Fallout 4 mods. So I figured out, I basically had to do a bit of debugging. I had to figure out, there was a mod that was not allowing me to build stuff on stuff that wasn't ground. So like where previously you could put, say, a sentry turret on top of a roof, there was no buildable spot on top of the roof.
You silly man, you needed to be a member of the Society for Putting Things on top of other things.
Of course. I needed to unlock that perk.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. But unfortunately, it would lock me out of the ultra awesome weapon that they would have given me. Like I had to take the path.
God damn it.
Video games!
Video game logic.
Anyway, but yeah, no, I narrowed it down to, unfortunately, it's a mod that I was kind of looking forward to using, but there was a mod basically called Tidy Settlers, and it gave you an item that you could place. Because the problem with the settlers and stuff in the settlements in Fallout 4 is that you have like 20 people living there, right? And they'll be living in like a bombed out building, and there's just a pile of like bricks and stuff, and no one ever cleans it up. Right?
Yeah.
Or there'll be a dead carcass over there, and everyone's just walking
stays
past.
there forever.
Just stays there forever.
I feel like only you, well, not only you, but it's suitable that you would install a mod so that you can clean up your virtual home.
This place is a mess. I just see him put on an apron, get out his old
Well, that's
broom.
basically what the mod did, right? So it gave you a bin item that you could place somewhere, and you could assign a settler to it, and that settler would go around brooming things, and then over time, I think it was like 20 in-game days, like a big radius around the bin would basically slowly remove some of the more crappier
the debris.
aspects.
That's actually a decent mechanic, but as you said, it broke.
Unfortunately, the way they had to change a setting called combined objects or something, and
so that way the NPCs could move things like bricks on the floor.
Exactly. But it did mean that for some reason it changed how the placement mechanics work.
Yeah.
So you couldn't place on top of anything that was raised off the ground, right? So you could have a building which had like stairs up and then like a concrete slab or something, and you try to place something and it would lock itself to the ground, and then it would say, oh, you can't place it because it's going through the floor. So
What do you mean? What do you mean your house doesn't just have a rock floor? I thought everyone's house.
That's how all houses are.
Right?
anyway,
Yay
so
for dependent modules.
yeah. So unfortunately, I uninstalled that. So I've been playing around a bit with Fallout. The other thing I did was I got all the achievements in GTA San Andreas on PS4.
Yeah.
So I finished that. I haven't quite finished the 100%. I'm up to 94%, I
was
think.
going to say, does that remind me how the PlayStation achievement systems works again? Is that platinum trophies?
Yeah, so basically you have bronze, silver, gold, platinum. And platinum basically just means you've gotten all the other ones. So if you look at someone's score and they have 10 platinum trophies, it means they've completed 10 games.
Like 100%.
100% completed 10 games.
Yeah, there are some games in which that's really evil, I think.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
just take forever.
Yeah.
Well, even stuff like Left 4 Dead, like
hang on a minute.
The achievements that I hate are the ones that are like, do something like a lot of times.
5 different times in different ways.
So there's one in Left 4 Dead, again, Left 4 Dead 1, which I only earned, I think, like late last year, which was kill 53,955 infected, right? And it's just like...
What an arbitrary number.
No, I think there was some reason for the number, but the number itself, it's like... You don't kill that many infected unless you literally play the game like constantly. And like I've played it in dribs and drabs over the last 10 years since it's been out.
Yeah.
And I've only just earned the achievement.
Yeah.
You know, it's just I never liked those
unless you're specifically going out to earn the achievement, so you just intentionally bring out hordes, intentionally just stand around and try to mow down as much as you can.
So it forces you to, like you said, like basically either cheat a little bit, like with infinite hordes and just sitting there or it forces you to play so much of the game that it just gets tedious.
We've touched on this, like achievements in general before, and just on that point, it was the likes of Ninja Gaiden, where it's like complete the entire game using just the dragon sword, complete the entire game using just the Vigorian flails, complete the entire game using just the hammer.
Do we think they're
why?
good? Do we think they're good achievements or bad?
No,
achievements?
God, no, horrible achievements. Those are the worst kinds of achievements.
Why? Because they're.
Do you know how? Firstly,
in that case, beat the game using only one weapon is bullshit. Beat a boss using only one weapon, I can understand. Right? There's been a couple of those that I've liked. There's been like a Ratchet and Clank one. It's like beat a boss using only your wrench, and like that sort of stuff. It kind of gives it a little bit. It gives
you a challenge without it being. It's not a play the game again because we want you to keep playing it.
Yeah.
Just we're just giving you an extra challenge.
Yeah,
that's a good
that's
achievement.
Fair. That's fair.
So saying play the entirety of the game again is kind of
so GTA San Andreas, being a bit of an open world thing, had a lot of like cool little achievements. It had a couple of stupid achievements. There was one that was like get busted 50 times, right? So like get arrested. Which,
that's an achievement.
Yeah. Well, I that's the thing. Like I finished the game without getting busted. But yeah. So all I did was I just went and stood outside a police station, like punched someone, hopped in a car, and then they opened the car and arrested you. I did that 50 times and got the achievement. That's the only one I ground. Grinded through.
The rest that is a grind.
Yeah,
that's
the rest of them. Yeah. The rest of them were pretty cool. There was one like beat the marathon. Like there's like a marathon that just exists within the game, like a swim, a bike, and a run.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. Triathlon, I believe they're called.
Yeah, whatever. Shut up, Vin. The point is, I beat it.
Sports
ball. There was one like win a game of pool. Right, I didn't even know there was pool in the game until I figured that out.
You're like, this is great. I'm going to play this all day.
I forgot there was pool. So that was pretty cool. What else was there?
I do have a question for you related to your previous point on mods. Would you ever make a mod?
I have. Well, not a mod. I have made like levels and stuff, but yes, I would consider it.
So what does making mods entail? Like, do you just develop? It's basically developing code.
Okay,
it depends on the game.
Yep.
And what you're trying to do.
Yeah.
Like for example, let's take a Bethesda game because they all use
They're notorious for mods.
They all use a similar modding framework. Mm-hmm. They ship the tools with the game. They do for Fallout as well, right?
Yeah, GEC.
Yeah.
They call
they give you the like if you want to make mods, here you go kind of thing.
They ship the tools with the game. They have since Morrowind.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing in that what you need to do to make a mod in those systems depends on what you're trying to achieve. If you're just trying to add extra stuff into the game, like extra weapons or armor or whatever, that's
fairly trivial.
That's easy. It's a click on point.
That's artist stuff. You won't need to provide the new assets.
Yeah. So you'd need models, textures. You'd probably need. So basically, you'd go into the GEC, or I don't know what it's called in Morrowind and stuff, but the tool, right? And you'd create a new entity. You'd give it a name. You'd assign its like base damage and that sort of stuff. And then you'd set like maybe some spawns where it would appear, or you'd add it to say like NPC trader lists, so that it can like randomly generate in someone's like list to buy.
Or if it's meant to be like a unique set of gear that's just for show or whatever, you just assign it a static location in the world and tell the interested parties to get it. Go here and look in this chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
Now if you want to do something a bit that's more to do with the game systems, like adding quests or adding new zones or that sort of thing. Well, then you need development experience as well, because you need to actually write the
like
logic,
scripts and logic and whatnot.
So I actually made a mod for Fallout. I forgot. Fallout 3. I added a new radio station, and all it did was just basically play music. But that was
what genre was it?
It was classic rock, basically. Because
was it era appropriate?
No.
It was like
it wasn't 50s rock. It was like 70s rock. So we're like talking like Tom Petty and what else did I have? I had like I can't even remember now. It was like 10 years ago.
Good.
Anyway, the point is, so I have made a mod before.
That's cool.
But the thing is, I've used level designers before as well.
Yeah.
So like, I made a mini quest in Age of Mythology, and I made a multiplayer capture the hill, I should say, King of the Hill map in StarCraft.
Yeah.
So it was either 2, 4, or 8 players, right? Because the thing was
size
mirrored,
of it, yeah.
mirrored, right? But each base had two spawning locations for people, so you could team up and have like 2v2,
Yeah.
right? Or you could have like 4 players, like each in each zone, or you could have 8 players with two teams, and so it was pretty fun.
What I found that's been really cool, and just going a little off topic, a little further than intended, is that there's a few games, the likes of Halos and whatnot, where you have communities, even TF2 and the such. You have communities, and they like encourage you to do shit. They encourage you to build maps. They encourage you to just play around with the tools and the systems and whatnot. And what Halo has done, or I've seen bits and pieces of, is they go, here's this really popular community-based map, and then they incorporate it into the game. So you've got some multiplayer maps where...
So even
like Valve does with TF2.
Yeah. So even I was gonna say so Valve did that with Team Fortress. I mean, Dota itself was a mod of Warcraft.
Yeah.
Right. What else was a good example? Even like Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 had community made mods.
Yeah.
Like remember Drop Zone?
Yeah.
Drop Zone was a mod where
Were they mods, or were they just like
they were
custom game mutator settings?
They were community made apparently servers that existed elsewhere on the internet, but
okay.
All right.
They added them
We've somehow
officially.
jumped into conversation about mods by accident. All right.
Have you ever done any
No,
modding?
I've played around with some map creation and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
I went through
never
a
anything
level
serious.
making phase.
Yeah.
Around the Doom years
Yeah.
with some of the tools that were around back then.
Oh, I also
I am curious.
I wish I still had them. To
Yeah.
be honest, because I want to go back. I want to go back and look at it and see if they're actually as good as I remember them, or
Okay.
if they were just rubbish.
I would love to play my StarCraft map.
Yeah.
Just off of that, for anyone that's listening, if you have created any mods or any custom maps or anything like that on whatever games, let us know. And if it's possible for us to play it,
Yeah.
I'd be keen to give
Yeah.
them a try. Like if you have
Yeah,
like a,
shoot us a
a
list.
random TF2
shoot us
thing.
a link in Discord. A list in Discord.
You got that, man.
Discord.
Discord. We are now officially calling our Discord Discord.
What have I
This is
done?
This is fantastic.
What have I done?
/r/dick pics.
This is fantastic. Okay, let's carry on. Let's not linger too long. The only one thing.
The
was
only
there
other
anything
thing
else
that I
you
had
wanted
was
to
that I
add?
went and saw Black Panther.
Yes, that was the one thing that
Uh-oh.
I was gonna touch on.
I'm gonna block my ears for the next 5
No,
minutes.
if Adam was here, like I know I could get into a very detailed conversation about just Black Panther and Marvel lore and whatnot. But I loved it. It's a fantastic movie. I have many reasons to enjoy it. There's maybe one thing about the story that I was just like, could have been a bit better.
So as a guy that hasn't been watching the Marvel movies, can I go see it?
Yeah, you'd still enjoy it.
It's very standalone.
It is very standalone. There's little bits and pieces of reference to others.
It's a
but
bit of an
not,
origin
It's
story,
not.
so.
It's not enough to throw off the movie. You'll still enjoy it. It is quite standalone.
Cool.
Yeah. No. That's probably the only one. Like the only thing I can call out. It is a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen it already, definitely go watch it.
So the hype.
There was a massive hype around it.
Hype is legit. It's real.
Yeah. For me, more so than others, I believe, in I guess the black community. But initially I was just like, whatever. But having watched it, I was just like, no, I get it. I get the hype. I get all aspects of the hype. So definitely worth watching.
Cool. Great.
Cool. So 30 minutes into this cast, let's get into our first topic.
That was quick.
No, I don't think it's. I just estimated.
No,
Like
it's
just said.
pretty
Sorry,
close. Pretty close.
23 minutes
we
into
did.
this cast. First topic. So it's a bit of a point off the back of a tragic event. So as most of you guys
We're gonna get
know,
real.
last week I believe it was.
Yeah,
or potentially the week before.
Yeah.
Recently, anyway, there was another shooting in the States. And we're not going to get
so
into
it was
that.
Tuesday.
Another Tuesday. We're not going to get into that in any details, but what has come out of that, as you expect, there's always I wouldn't call it backlash, the responses afterwards of gun control,
it's
mental
the-
health,
Yeah.
it's
Hopes
people
and
that kill
prayers.
people, not guns, hopes and prayers, the kind of it kind of feels weird saying this, but it's the mundane same that happens every
Yeah.
time this happens.
That said, I think the anger seems like it's sticking around longer this time.
I don't. It seems the same to me, unfortunately.
The previous big ticket killing. Oh god, that's a horrible way of describing the previously like notable killing, the Vegas shooting.
That died down very quickly.
That died down very quickly. Whereas here we're into week 3 and people are still red hot angry about it.
Correct me if I'm wrong. This was another school shooting.
Yeah,
Yes.
unfortunately. So I mean, the overview is basically it was a school shooting in Florida. The guy has had known mental health issues in the past, which is why there's the big debate about mental health. Yeah.
Anyway,
the point is we don't
get
wanna
into
get
that. We want to talk about something video game related, and where this ties into video games is the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump, said that he believes that violent media and video games contributed to the mind state of the perp, and there should be a rating system or something for that.
How about that?
So
Man, I tell you what, I've gotten mad about loot boxes before.
So first off, what year is it?
1982, Jimmy.
1997, the PS1 has just come out.
Yeah. And yes, that's sort of where I'm going with this, because I distinctly remember this happening 30 years ago. 20 years ago.
I was going to say 30?
20 years ago. I distinctly remember this happening around in the era of Doom, of Quake, of the original Call of Duty, you know, of Mortal Kombat, those sort of things. I distinctly remember this happening back in those days.
So my question here, very quickly for you, Raz, was Trump's comments targeting video games, or was it a broader stroke kind of?
He called out, I think the quote was media and video games.
Yes.
So
right.
He specifically called it out. Let me look it up.
Okay. This argument, like you're saying, has happened. It's been here. It's done that.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. I'm a bit torn on this one, to be honest, because it's sort of like when the argument first came up, it just seemed ludicrous to me because like. In the early days, the quote-unquote violent video games, the level of realism, of fidelity that was possible at those times was just a joke by modern standards.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it seemed high-tech at the time, but it's like, have you played Doom recently? Like the original Doom?
It still makes me sick.
I can't play it because motion sickness and stuff. I actually had to go into when I was going to play Quake 1, right? I actually had to go on and turn off like the view bobbing and stuff.
It's when we played Turok.
View bobbing aside, like those games are cartoons.
Yeah,
they are cartoons.
Yeah,
they are incredibly stylized and unrealistic.
So we have to do something about maybe what they're seeing and how they're seeing it, and also video games. Was the quote.
And also video games.
That's where the quote cuts off.
Yeah.
I'm hearing more and more people say the level of violence on video games is really shaping young people's thoughts.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? Because nobody's thought of that before.
So in terms of how much, your point, I believe, is you're getting to the point to make is that video games of the past, violent, whatnot, but they were not realistic. Yeah. They couldn't, like, there was no big deal. But now they look like real life.
So that's the argument that a lot of people will take. But
I'm gonna be honest. If video games or media was an influence to individuals' actions, of I just played this ridiculously violent video game, I now have violent tendencies. If that was the case, I don't think it matters how realistic that medium is. If you still get that impression, if you still go, I am this character, whether you call it a box or a block or a blob, and I killed this other character, whether it's a box or a blob or whatever, that act of killing is still there, however it is depicted. I don't think that distinction in how realistic or how visually impactful it is makes any difference. I think the problem is that there's been multiple studies that have thoroughly disproven this fact. It's like
99.999% of people will not be adversely affected by video games.
You don't even need a study anymore, is the thing. Like I said, it's been 20 years, right? There are many countries in the world in which video games are a widely consumed form of entertainment, right? And for better or for worse, within these 20 years, the primary game mechanic has been violence.
Yeah.
Okay? You solve your problem in most video games. of the past and of today. You solve your problems through violence. You
Yes.
defeat the
You
there's
defeat the enemies.
There's varying levels of like realism and like the varying levels of realism and graphic depiction and like in some games it's totally bloodless. It's very
like Mario,
like
you
Mario
jump on the top of an enemy.
but
that action is still
but
there.
the general mechanic is you defeat your enemies. You solve your problems by defeating your enemies through violence, violent means of varying levels of impact.
So my point earlier, sorry.
Lots of countries, lots of different countries, lots of different countries,
and yet
lots of
America's
video games,
the only
and yet
one.
America's the only one that actually has
a
a
mass
widespread
shooting
problem.
Yeah, or that to this extent.
Yes, that's right.
So the point around the realisticness and whatnot, it was obviously, I wasn't saying that is an actual fact or not, but to your point of saying this has been going on for so long, if it was actual an issue that video games and media was impacting people, we'd be living in anarchy. Like everyone would be violent.
That's right.
Like vast majority of teens to 30, 40-year-olds would be like, I have a problem that I can't fix. I'm going to kill whatever's stopping me.
What are the most popular video game franchises?
The likes of CODs and the such.
Call of Duty, Assassin's Creed, Halo.
Yeah. Like the big ones, the big names. They're all violent. They're
Exactly.
all solve your problem through violence.
If they directly caused violence, we would be living in a very violent society. Here in Australia, I mean, we have the usual levels of city violence, but like nothing on the level this is going on in the US.
You don't have the mass murders. You don't have the police shootings. You don't have to the same extent. Like anywhere, you have bad people.
Yeah.
You have people that rob, that kill.
Bad dudes.
But it's not to the same extent. So that makes you think, okay, clearly there's other factors at play.
Okay, so I mean, like the guy that did the current one, right? Like I said, he allegedly had mental health issues, right? But in Florida, in the state where he lives, any mental health issues, any violent tendencies or non-violent tendencies or whatever, none of that has to be reported to the background check.
Yeah,
I think NICS. I mean, I'll probably be corrected on that, but I can't remember exactly what it's called. But it's basically the background check service.
Yeah.
Right? No mandatory reporting. Right. So he probably wasn't in the system.
Yeah.
And even if he was in the system, Florida doesn't require background checks to purchase weapons.
Yeah.
And even if they did,
it's not mandatory.
It's not mandatory. Even if they did, he could have bought it in a private sale because private sales are not regulated at all.
Yeah.
Like, the problem is that it's systemic, right? There's so many little things that add up to this going wrong, right? It's not just violent video games. It's not just that he had easy access to guns. It's not just that he had mental health issues. The problem is everywhere.
Yeah.
Right? It needs to change, like...
It's a cultural thing.
Yeah, it needs to change at a fundamental level.
There's a fundamental level in the way that the country is run and day-to-day life that needs to be addressed or even needs to be discussed.
The thing is, there's like I said, there's no one solution. Like people going, oh, it's purely video games. It's not purely video games. I mean, it could be a contributing factor.
Yeah.
But it's not the only
Even the
factor.
likes of gun control. Like I think we were discussing in Discord, gun control itself is not going to solve this issue because you're going to have black markets. You're going to have other means of people getting access to weapons. You've got like, what was it? Prohibition?
It's not going to hurt though.
That was like the drinking
anti-alcohol.
Yeah. So
it's not going to hurt though.
Oh no, it will definitely help. But we're saying that it's more than just the one thing. So like the U.S. government tried to ban alcohol. How well did that go?
Well, that's...
and then they had to reverse it at a later point.
I feel like there's a bit of a difference between a beer and a gun.
There's a big difference, but my point still stands in if you try to restrict people can still get what they want to get.
Yeah.
Like, they'll find a way.
But it might be harder for them to get what they want.
Harder.
Right?
And,
so the idea
that's
is
that would cut out a massive amount of
your average thug or distressed teen is not going to drop however many $1,000 on an illegal weapon.
Yeah.
It's going to be left to the professionals, so to speak.
Yeah.
Whereas, like a distressed teen at the moment can literally just walk into a shop and go, I'll get this, thanks.
So back to the point of video games.
Not teen, but
something that I am curious about, and I've kind of thought about it and may have had previous conversations around it, is to say, do you think that if someone already has violent tendencies and potential mental instability and whatnot, playing violent video games, would that be a means of encouraging or exacerbating that condition? Or would it even be the opposite of going, this is their outlet, this is their means of release, and prevent them from going to punch Ryan in the face or
I think it actually
stab
depends
Ben in the
more
back?
on
the individual.
Well, no, I actually think it depends not so much on the content of the video game, but the what's the right word I'm looking for here? Like the nature of how you play the game.
Yeah.
Like whether it's competitive, cooperative, escapist, or realistic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think, not to make light of the situation, but I think trying to play a super realistic competitive game like Armor is enough to send anybody into a murderous rage.
It would make you angrier than as a form of release.
Or,
as a
being
form
surrounded by a toxic community, cough League of Legends, cough Dota,
Yeah,
cough
of
Overwatch.
any big competitive community.
Yeah, that's right.
So-
Even a fighting game community, for instance,
Yeah.
like a hyper competitive community like that might make somebody that's
So that's not the video game though. That's the people. That's the community going. Your shit. Go eat shit and die.
But I think it's
as opposed to.
I think it's the nature of the way that you play the game that actually determines what sort of community forms.
Yeah. So
I think competitive communities are more likely to create toxic environments because there's ego on the line.
Yeah.
I think
there's
competitive
winning versus
communities-
losing.
Competitive communities where the outcome is not entirely based on your own skill. Like fighting games where you're like 1v1 most of the time.
Yeah.
Sure, there might be a little bit of toxicity, right? But when it comes to stuff like League of Legends, where it's like, well,
team-based
shit,
and other
that
people.
guy dropped the ball.
Yeah.
That guy's the asshole.
Yeah.
But if a guy's playing like, say, what's a good example? Like I don't know, just like a single player game where you mow down armies of guys.
Yeah.
The power trip might just sate their
anger, their issue,
their
whatever
you
the
know?
condition may be.
Yeah.
So it sounds to me like what we're saying here is similar to how we're saying the states. It's more than one thing. It's the ecosystem. It's everything around.
But
it.
I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I'm sure this has actually been studied.
Yeah. I would
encourage anybody that's interested in this topic to actually go and read the
research
literature.
it
and do some
look into it.
research.
Yeah. So similar. Again, this is from my perspective, from the conversation we just had. It sounds like it's more than one thing. It's not purely the video game is going to encourage you one way or another. It's any sort of surrounding factors. It's the community around whatever game you're playing. It's the nature of the game. If it's a calm point A to point B,
But even then,
objective.
Right, there's external factors outside of that as well, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of like if you guys come home from a really shitty day at work, how do you deal with that? What's your
sleep?
What's your release? Like, or if you were going to play a video game, what would you want to play?
I would play the likes of, for me right now, like speaking right now, Halo or Overwatch, but quick play, like social, where I'm not talking to the people and it doesn't matter if you win or lose. That's
Whereas I'd play like a single player game. I'd play something like Fallout, where it's like you run around, you do your own thing, you spend time like doing fucking like Zen stuff where you're like building settlements or whatever, or you go and kick some CPU butt and go destroy some super mutants or whatever. But not against another person, basically.
I would go into probably go into an MMO, turn my friends list off, and just play a different character. Just level them up, grind them up. Mindless Zen activity.
Mindless. Yeah, but that's the other aspect of it as well, though. Like, if you're just doing like a mindless repetitive, where it takes your mind off whatever issue that you may have been dealing with over the course, but it's also not stressful or it doesn't take a lot of effort. That's a good situation to be in.
Now we're focusing on the video game part of the argument here because this is a video game podcast. That's what we're interested in.
Yeah.
Violent media of other forms is very common.
Yeah.
It's part of, like, it's not the point of, but it's part of, like, all the superhero films that are very common at the moment. Why is it that always video games get singled out?
So
When these discussions occur.
so from my perspective, and again, this conversation hasn't really happened for a while, like you said.
Well, the
happened
first round of
a long
controversy. Now that I remember it, the first round of controversy happened after the Columbine school shootings in the 90s, because the perpetrators in that case were video gamers, and they played a lot of FPS. I think it was it Doom? Hang on a minute. Let me
So
look it up.
I mean,
Counter-Strike,
you
maybe.
are kind of right though that video games get singled out. I mean, you look at stuff like metal music, right? A lot of that's screaming about killing things and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Hell, raps about how I grew up on a street, and I've killed people and I'm a gangster and that sort of stuff.
We are stereotyping super hard.
We are
right now, but
okay.
let's
But
continue.
that's my point, right? Like, I'm talking about the stereotypes. So why
Yeah.
is it the video games have the stereotype of, oh well, they're bad for kids, they're bad for things,
Yep.
I'm just saying, like, we have music, we have movies, we have video games.
Yeah.
Why is it only video games?
Yeah, they were Doom players.
Doom players?
Yeah.
Okay, so again, my perspective, my thoughts, because I have thought about this before, and anyone listening, feel free to chime in and give us your thoughts and feels on this. The difference here is movies and music and books and other forms of media and literature have been around for a long time. And
Books, yes.
music has been around much longer. Movies, film has been around much longer than video games. That's one aspect of it from my perspective.
My only objection to that is that films, like, it's not going to be too much longer before films and video games will have
very similar.
The difference between the age of them
Yeah.
will become a rounding error.
So I'm kind of getting to a separate point that kind of relates to that. And so historically, those mediums have a wider kind of sort of influence and impact and focus. So whereas, like we said, the vast majority of video games have been violence, have been point A to point B, get there by beating the other person or stopping the other person or killing the other person.
Even movies, you have like stuff like...
So there's very violent movies and there's very grotesque movies, and that's definitely... But I'm saying that it's not a bigger piece of the pie in the movie world as what it is in the video games world.
Yeah,
so,
that is true. Like, games where violence isn't the primary mechanic are still considered like daring
or casual,
or daring,
or casual, or whatever
I'm
the case
thinking
is.
the likes of Bejeweled,
artistic,
and Candy Crush, and
I was more thinking of things like Firewatch, Gone Home, that sort of thing.
What multiplayer games can you think of that aren't based on violence?
Portal 2.
Yeah,
there's still some level of, but there's still some level of violence in it, though.
Like
isn't
competitive. Okay, so I guess like stuff like FIFA, so sports games, right?
Mm.
So sports games would be an example where violence isn't a big thing, and in fact, I think it's like actively stopped. If you try and kick a player, then you get a red card, right?
Yeah, like the rules to the video game
you can't just
the
go out
rules
and
to
punch
reality.
a guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What else? Yeah, so that's the point, right? It's trying to think about it. There's very little that you can think of where violence isn't the objective. The other point that I was getting at is wait, no, I can't remember now. Carry on. I will try to remember what my second point was.
You were talking about movies and music and how they're older than video games, and video games has the largest share of the violence pie.
Yeah, but I still can't remember my second point.
Okay.
Never mind.
Cool.
So, but from your perspective, why do you think video games are singled out over other mediums?
Well, the excuse I think one of the main excuses or the main reasons that they've been singled out is the increased degree of interactivity.
Yes, that was my second point. Thank you.
It's like all art is interactive to a point. Okay, when you engage with a piece of art, whether it be music, painting, sculpture, or film, or video games, you have to have a reaction to it.
Yeah.
That's part of the experience, you know? You have to have an emotional reaction to it for it to be
of value.
A worthwhile experience.
Yes.
But of the primary forms of art, as we understand it these days, video gaming actually demands that you
participate. Yes, exactly right. That was actually exactly my second point.
You're the one that's pushing the button.
You're the one controlling. Yes, you're the one controlling the character.
I mean, it's still I mean, in my opinion, it's still abstract enough that it's not a big deal, but
that can be part of the argument to say that it's that one level further.
But is it though?
Yeah, I think it is.
Okay,
Again, this is a personal opinion, but I could be wrong.
Let me give you my counter argument to that. I'm not sure that we can have a discussion about that when most games have like a preset set of actions that you can take on the set of agency that you are given in the game world. And when all the agency you have is violence, is it still really you making that choice when the only ways you have to interact with the game world are in violent ways?
So, yes and no. So, there are games where it's very linear. It's point A to point B. If you finish this game, you have to do these things. And then you have other games that are like, there was a period, not so much now, but let's say like 5 years ago, where a big part of it was moral choices, where you have the renegade versus the whatever.
But you can only make the choices that have been programmed into
the
game.
Yes, so that programming is still there. You still have a limited set of choices. But whereas in a movie, you're watching it and it's just happening. You're just sitting there, you're watching, you're listening, but you have that reaction to it.
You have a reaction to the choices that are made, but you can't actually direct
You can't direct it. You can't influence it in any way, shape, or form. Whereas the game is, I actively do something to make the predefined actions in the game happen. So I am actively going, yes, I press A. Yes, I jumped and cut this thing.
Yeah, I mean...
Yes, so again, my argument is that it's still you making these things happen.
Okay, sorry, just a bit of a tangent, right? Spoilers for Fallout 3, so if you feel like playing that, just mute for a second. At the end of Fallout 3, you have to go into a heavily irradiated thing to push a few buttons, right? Also in Fallout 3, you can have a companion. Those companions can include a ghoul who is healed by radiation and a super mutant who is immune to radiation.
Yep.
Right? You can go and talk to them and be like, yo, can you go in there for me? And they'll be like, no, this is something you have to do yourself. In the sense that you're railroaded into making that
into doing your heroic sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly. So like at some point, I get the player agency. You know, it's not the game that's forcing you to knife the person, but at the end of the day, there is a certain number of railroad that it's like, well, I'm forced to do this against my wishes.
I think the impact is higher in games that actually give you more agency outside of violent solutions. Like to give you an extreme example, the original Quake removed the interact button that Doom and Doom 2 and Heretic and Hexen had. Okay, the only player inputs you had in that game were movement and shooting.
Yeah.
Movement and shooting. Nothing else.
Yeah.
All interaction with the game world was through shooting it. All the switches were shot activated or just happened automatically when you
walked up to it.
Came near them.
So
that's a very common trope as well.
In,
it's like shoot the even in movies, shoot the control panel, door opens.
Yeah.
So despite it being a more quote unquote, its graphical fidelity was higher than Doom, but I actually felt it had less of an impact on me because it was just so one-dimensional.
It's one-dimensional. So, again, where you don't have that choice, where it is this linear storyline, you feel it less.
Yeah.
I will play the most violent video game if it's just capture this objective by killing everyone else. Or Force Unleashed is the Star Wars one.
Yeah.
That is one of the most linear things I've ever done. And all you can do is you beat up all the stormtroopers, you just go from point A, point B, kill everything in between. I love that game. That was fun. The likes of Mass Effect.
I just killed a bunch of guys. It was great.
The likes of Mass Effect and a few other ones, like I said earlier on, where it gives you that moral choice. I don't think I've ever once played through a game where I've done the bad moral choices because I can't.
You can't do it.
Like I find it difficult.
I'm the same.
So I will always do the good. So
alignment,
lawful
good.
So
alignment, neutral good.
So that's the thing, right? When you have that choice, and that kind of ties back into my argument as to why video games is more singled out or more so impactful, is you are making a conscious decision to do these things. When I have the choice to be good versus evil, my automatic inclination is to do the good. It's much harder for me to do the evil and do the more killing and do the more bad
despite
stuff.
that being the case, it's definitely interesting that the ones that get singled out by people that aren't familiar with the artistic mechanisms of video games often single out games which don't have that choice, which are the ones that are one-dimensional experiences.
So
because of how they appear on the surface.
Exactly right. For the people that are making this argument, I believe from their perspective, they're just seeing violence. They're just seeing kids playing a game that is violent, and they're like, that's gotta be impacting them badly in some way. Maybe they've done their research. Maybe they haven't. I don't think they have, because, like we said, there have been studies that have gone into this to go, this doesn't really.
Okay, so let's take this discussion in another direction. So a lot of these games that we're talking about, that use violence as a major mechanic and have depictions of violence within, aren't actually meant to be sold to kids. Teenagers.
Yeah, GTA was either an MA or an R game.
Yeah.
And that comes to the wider point of video games or not, where it's raising your kids.
So Mr. Trump is like, there should be some sort of rating system. There is a rating system. There is a rating system in every country where these games are sold.
In every
medium. As much as we might,
medium.
It's been around for at least 20 years, if not longer.
And as much as we might bash like major publishers for controlling like the ESRB and stuff, they actually do rate games.
Yeah,
you know? They actually do their thing.
And usually rate them reasonably appropriately.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I have a hard time getting worked up about this stuff anymore, because it's like, yes, GTA should be an R-rated game, 100%.
It is.
So, yeah, I don't know. Similar to the gun problem or the violence problem, I feel to some extent it will always be around. There'll always be people going, video games is bad for people. It's impacting them negatively, and it's influencing their...
I'm just imagining it's like 2050, you know, the next presidential election. And like, he's like, man, I grew up playing Candy Crush. Video games are violent.
Or would it be more like, I grew up playing VR chat?
They know the way.
For those that are listening purely, Roz was giving a very emphatic head shaking.
Do not go there. It is a silly place.
Anyway.
So like we just said, it is definitely going to be... We're going to hear this argument again, without a doubt.
There's going to be another shooting.
And
there always is.
I think and I hope that it becomes less prevalent, like it doesn't happen as often.
You hope and you pray.
I hopes and prayers. In terms of the shootings, unfortunately, I don't think it will be anytime soon.
There is one little movement which I think deserves a little bit of note. Is there's a lot of school kids that are actually organizing protests and saying we're not going to go to school until this is sorted, you know. And you could just roll your eyes and say, "Oh, kids," right? But at the end of the day, it's their lives
on the line. Yeah.
So,
like,
good on them. Yeah, they're like, if they're the ones that are most usually impacted by this sort of stuff, so of course they should be involved.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is destroying. Like I remember a little while back, I legitimately considered going to the States, just short period of time, work potentially, see what happens. And now I'm just like, I don't really
want to go.
I don't want to. But then B, even the thought of raising a family there is terrifying. I'm just like, I don't want any of that. Like, I don't want to send my kids to school and be like, in the back of my mind, yeah, they're 99.9999% of the time they're fine, but there's a chance that someone's gonna have a gun and
just walk into the school,
just casually walk. Like, I've never even considered that being a possibility here. Like, that's never crossed my mind at any point in time.
Well, the thing is, it probably has happened.
It may, like...
Nah, I think
there's definitely violence.
There's
probably kids with knives or whatever the case is. Again, it's still that access. Yeah. People have access to knives.
Exactly.
And they can, like,
But additionally...
Kids in Australia are just as messed up as kids in the States. People in Australia can be just as messed up as people in the States. But yet, we don't have the same level.
What was the last
Guns
large gun-related thing? Was that the Lint Cafe, right?
Yeah. Yes. But even
I'm
then,
not even talking shooting. I'm just talking. When was the last gun-related huge news media thing?
okay, you occasionally hear about the various organized crime.
There was a
groups.
shooting or something,
Yeah.
like a drive-by.
Drive-by or
But
the
that was all
bikers
linked to
or
organized
whatever.
crime and
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's from memory. That's what I can.
That's the key point right there. Is that guns are a violence amplifier. You even if somebody doesn't have any experience, if somebody has no experience in any weaponry, they're still going to be able to kill more people with a gun than with a knife. In fact, they probably won't kill. In fact, they probably won't kill anyone with a knife.
I remember.
And they've got a decent chance of killing somebody with a gun.
I remember a previous shooting that was raising these arguments again, and one person's argument is like, no, it's better for them to have guns because if they had knives, they would run around stabbing people, and there wouldn't be as much noise, so it wouldn't be picked up as quickly. I'm like, are you kidding me? And it's like they're like, oh, they'll be able to run around and do a lot more damage before anyone can stop them. The first person that gets stabbed is gonna scream. The first, everyone's gonna know instantly. What are you talking about? It's like that is such a ridiculous
because knives
argument.
work just like they do in video games, right? You walk up, you slash at someone's arm, and they just drop dead. Oops! I cut your arm. Oh,
I won't have time to even make a sound. I was like, that was the most ridiculous argument that I had heard around the guns versus not guns. I was just like, yeah, some people there are gonna be some people you just cannot argue with about this. They want their guns. They're gonna fight tooth and nail for it, and they're not gonna let you change the legislation or whatever it is to restrict their access to their guns.
They'll spin you a good story about, how it's part of the Constitution and in the Second Amendment or whatever. But really, at the end of the day, they like guns and they want to have them.
That's it.
That's what they want.
And the thing is, like, what I was talking about with, the background checks, it's like, just to get to that level, just to get to the point of mandatory background checks, and, mandatory reporting of mental health, it's like, even just to get to that level, no one wants to do it because, quote unquote, my Second Amendment, right?
My rights.
My rights.
And
it's like, it's not even affecting the average.
We're getting a bit political here.
Your average regular person who has absolutely no background history that would prohibit them getting a gun can still get a gun.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, this is to try to bring us back on topic a little bit. It's the disagreement around which way to go in order to try and help the issue, which leads them to misdirect their anger, looking for solutions onto other things, like video games.
Ignoring a huge elephant in the room.
So all this time, these past, let's say, 10 years, that it's becoming more and more mainstream that these things happen, nothing has changed. Like in the States specifically, nothing has changed. But why not try something? Why not be like, let's
because
put
the
in this
NRA
regulation?
has a lot of
so much power. But my point there is, do something. Don't just argue the point forever and people keep dying.
Yeah,
do something. If it doesn't work,
try and
stop
experiment.
Stop it.
Collect data and adjust.
Yeah, exactly right. It's almost like we're developing software here and we're iteratively working through this. If something doesn't work, fine, but at least try to fix this problem, people. Anyway, I'm getting too carried away and too angry about this issue that we said we wouldn't talk too much about. Let's try to wrap it up on a more lighthearted note. Is there anything that you guys want to recommend for our viewers and listeners to potentially partake in?
Dragon Ball the Fighter Z.
Yes. Hey, you're not a fan. Don't worry.
It
is a fantastic game. Do you like the likes of Tekken or
Street Fighter?
I'm not a fighting game person.
We've
covered this multiple times.
We played it yesterday with Adam.
3 days ago, if you're listening on Monday or Tuesday.
Yes, that's right. But
2 days ago.
The game's incredible.
It's fantastic.
I am very close to buying it on PC despite having nobody to play it with. It's just great.
I thought it was broken on PC.
It might be. I don't know.
For
I
me,
haven't researched it.
For me, it is the kind of game that I've wanted for Dragon Ball Z for a very long time. And there's similarities to it to some of the very old SNES games that I've played. Old Dragon Ball Z SNES games that I've played, in the sense of just the animation and the moves and whatnot. It's just a much better looking version of those older ones.
Holy hell, does it look fantastic.
It looks amazing.
I did play a lot of, I had a summer where my brother and his mate basically swapped games, and I ended up with a copy of Dragon Ball Budokai 3. Not Budokai Tenkaichi, just Budokai 3. There is a difference. Because everyone I've ever mentioned it to, they go, "Oh, Budokai Tenkaichi, I love that game." It's like, no, it's not the game.
It's far worse.
No, I don't know. I don't know if it's worse or better. The point is there is difference.
Right?
There is
games.
a difference.
There's a lot of them.
But I would say I generally enjoyed it. But I just played the single player, right?
Yeah.
Which was like, go here, kick Cell's
Fight
ass.
this guy, go here, go
kick
fight this
Frieza's
other guy.
ass.
Yeah. Anything else?
No, that's.
I don't know. It left it like we've hyped it up on the podcast before. Like as it was coming out, we were like, "This is going to be great. It looks fantastic." Well, now I've actually had a chance to play it. It's superb.
Yeah,
I love it.
The only thing I have is I think Star Trek Discovery finished up maybe a week or two ago now. So if you were wanting to watch Star Trek Discovery, all the episodes of season 1 are now out, and I really enjoyed it. So I thought.
And
it was really
from me, again, Black Panther. I cannot recommend that enough. Go watch it. I loved it. I think you'll love it as well. The other thing, and this isn't a recommendation, but this is something that we also did the other day, was we watched the Full Metal Alchemist live action, and
yeah, that is not a recommendation.
Watch it
watch it if you're a Full Metal Alchemist fan and you want to see how it could translate into live action. But I think
the answer is poorly.
Not well. Yes and no. I think
there are aspects of it that are well done to an extent, and there are aspects of it you're just like, it doesn't quite tell the story well.
It lost what it lost going into live action was not necessarily that it is live action. It was what they had to do to the story to fit it into the space of the movie.
Yeah,
Right.
like it's almost
a movie,
almost
not
the
a series.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's almost the book to movie argument again of there's just too much missing out of it to tell the same story. Like,
But it was almost like
it was
like they didn't even try.
but
In my opinion. Okay. I'm going off on a tangent here because I thought there was too much missed potential to not be a bit disappointed.
Yeah.
There. Because it's sort of like I reckon it could have been part of the start of a franchise, and if they'd zeroed in on like one of the stories, like a a 3 to 4 episode period in either of the anime, then they could have had something really
solid,
strong.
If they had made it a live action series, fantastic.
Instead, they basically tried to tell season 1 in season
2
1,
hours.
which is like 26 episodes worth of anime in 2
2
hours, and kind of mangled it.
They mangled it. Plain and simply put. I think another aspect of our displeasure is we're such big fans of it, though.
Yeah, maybe.
Like me, Adam, and Ruz watched it the other day, and if you've ever talked to us, you know that we love Full Metal Alchemist.
Really? I never would have been able to tell.
And so us watching this, we're just like, there's just so much that we wanted.
Is that the one with the meme about the girl dog?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And that's also in the movie, so
Yeah. Spoilers, I guess.
you've got to deal with that.
Yeah.
But
I did the trailer. You see it in the trailer.
I don't know. I like. I mean, maybe this is why I'm not a director. But if I was the director, I'd be focusing on a smaller part of the story and trying to set it up for a series of movies.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Anywho, I think we're at a good point.
Yeah.
I think we're done for now. So to wrap us up, thank you all very much for listening. We love that you've chosen to listen to us ramble for the last hour or so. If you're listening on iTunes or a podcasting medium, please just give us some comments, give us a review if you can. If you're on YouTube, please like and subscribe. Check out some of our other content. Jump onto Discord. Any topics that we've discussed in today's podcast, feel free to jump in and give us your thoughts and feels on them. If there's anything you want us to play, anything you want us to watch, any sort of recommendations, throw them at our faces. We'll give them a shot. And yeah, just get involved. Share some of our content with some of your friends if there's anything that you think they would like to see.
Or come just shitpost.
Shit
That works
post
too.
as well.
Yeah.
We do like our shit posting. Cool. All right. Thanks
All
a lot,
good.
guys.
Bye.
Bye.